When I started putting together the book, I thought it was going to be all composers, similar to Alfred's books like one-page composer bios or accent on composers. But it quickly broadened from there just because women's roles in music have been so varied. They were denied like the traditional path that men had to train in music schools and then go on to earn a living or even just to perform on the side. So those educational performance opportunities were not there for them. So they sort of had to carve out their own paths. And because of that, the roles they played can be like vastly different. So you have women who were composers. There's a lot of composers in the book. There are also a lot of performers. There's some teachers like Nadia Boulanger. There's people towards the later half of the book when we get into like the 20th century who really like carved out their own path, or maybe they started as performers but quickly began to teach, and their impact ended up being in that space. So in the end, I ended up with 18 women. Starts with Hildegard von Bingen, so almost 1,000 years ago, and then it works its way up to, I think, Patsy Cline, the country singer, is the most recent woman in the book, since we didn't include anyone who's still alive and legacy is still being created. I am a middle school choral director and general music teacher right now. It's my current position up in Boston, Massachusetts. And so I've tried to be really proactive about using this book where I can. So I don't use it all at once as a set curriculum, although of course you certainly could, or you could do a unit on women in Western music and just work through the book. I use it kind of on an ad hoc basis. So when we do our Do Now at the beginning of class, I try to work some of these women in where we listen to the recording. I might pass out the bio or pass out the activity that goes with each woman and let that be like our intro into a larger discussion of like a particular time period. Like if we were talking about Broadway, listen to the Ethel Merman recording, talk about her, and then let that lead us on into whatever else our activity is for the day. I also use just like as a sub-activity. This week I'm at the ACDA conference and my kids were home and they had a few of the bios from the book to read and then answer questions on and then complete the activity. I'm just trying to be proactive about putting them in whenever I can and not kind of going with the status quo of those male musicians that I grew up learning about. Of course, they're still there, but I'm trying to like purposely make room for the women as well, so that it's a diverse representation that I'm presenting to my students, that they can all see themselves in the people that we're studying, that it's not just men, it's women, it's people of color. There's a broad spectrum of identities and roles within the world of music.